Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely Sabbath early morning in which the Most High, Ahia, has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. This is going to be a wonderful lesson for this Sabbath. I hope you are enjoying your Sabbath day. And I want you to take our time to make sure you have your Bible and a pencil and a piece of paper so you can write this information down and learn of it even after Sister Deborah has completed this uh, message. And it is for people who are special. And I'm going to say that like I know it in me. This message is for those who are special. Okay. And believe me, I have spoken this and upload this topic probably twice. And I'm going to upload it again because I see that and I realize that there are many males that has taken on positions as apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, Maureen, seers, watchmen, um, and many other titles. And they still, what Sister Deborah is saying in that day, which is the day we're in, lost without a cause. That means they still sit in the darkness, not knowing the truth of the matter that rests in the light. And what the Spirit of the Most High revealed to me this morning was it's going back to what you have said in the last weeks or months. Spirit and truth is what they're lacking. They're lacking spirit and truth because that is something that you just can't get of your own. You can't read, you can't study, you can't master, you can't go to school and learn it. You can't go under all these different programs. You can't get on YouTube and learn it. Spirit and truth is simply what it says, spirit and truth. The truth of the matter that all things are spirit. The matter of the truth is that the Father in the heavens, many in the world calls God, I call a higher, is the truth. Okay? Every man is a liar, and only he is truth. Okay? So when Sister Deborah is saying spirit and truth, that means you have to be able to have had a higher take you to a level of where he teaches you, but he teaches you in spirit and in truth. Okay, he don't teach you the darkness, the traditions, the ways of the flesh wisdom, the ways of the flesh knowledge, and the ways of the flesh uh, understanding, because the flesh has its own set of rules, its own set of laws in this book, its own set of understanding in this book. Okay, but spirit and truth comes to take you out of the book and bring you to the bosom of the Father and learn from him from the heavenly level who orchestrated it all from that level. So spirit and truth is a very good thing to have, but you can't get it because Sister Deborah is teaching it. You can't inherit it because Sister Deborah is only on here speaking it, and because you're listening, and because you're beholding Sister Deborah. You can't get spirit and truth that way. Spirit and truth is where he comes in and he abide in you. He is a spirit that abide in your spirit. So therefore he has no detachment to your flesh. You see, he comes to rest in your spirit, and he comes to allow you to rest in him, and you become one in within yourself. So just imagine having a oneness with the Father. You see? And it's not on the outer man, it's in the inner man. It's in your spirit, which millions have taught soul, trillions have taught soul. And that word soul keep people from understanding the spiritual and the flesh, because it's always going to be something right in the middle that's caught in the middle to confound you in understanding the two. And that's why a lot of people don't understand that there is something about your spirit that needs to connect with the spirit of Yah. Instead, they be focusing on soul. Yah is not connecting with your soul. A lot of people don't understand, and they refuse to understand because they want to be able to teach this word out of the flesh. And out of the flesh, they feel that they can go strictly by the book. It is nothing wrong with going strictly by the book. That's just you teaching yourself, your flesh wisdom. You teaching yourself your flesh knowledge. You teaching yourself your flesh understanding. And it comes along, and what else help you is your personal opinion, your feelings, your emotions. With all that detached to this book, you can go a long ways in this world. Why? Because you're teaching the outer man and not the inner man. Okay? Sister Deborah comes to teach not just the outer man, but the inner man. Because I'm not just in the world. I'm not just in the world, but I'm in the world, but not of the world. That means that even though I'm here, I have to speak because I'm here to the flesh as well as the spirit. That's a student of the Most High, Ahaya. Okay? So, today, this lesson is going to cover strictly the spirit man, okay? So that it contains the outer man, which is the flesh, to understand that all things and the truth of the matter rest in spirit and in truth. What do he tell you to measure an individual when you're trying to balance who this individual is? Okay? He said what? Try the spirit by the spirit. He don't say try the flesh by your spirit. No, you can't try someone's flesh by your spirit because they're going to come on the losing end 100 times 100. So you got to go after their spirit, and you have to try their spirit by the spirit. Okay? We have a pastor by the name of GINO Jennings, and he has a tendency, he has been in this for too long to not know spirit and truth. But I have to respect too long is the length of time that the Most High, Ahaya, has suffered him to have and still be ignorant in the midst. He can go after many, many people, but can you go after many, many people without you knowing spirit and truth of the matter of all or majority things? Okay? So that leads me to understand he needs someone to also step into him. And the one that he's going to receive, it will and shall be at all time a female, because a female is not afraid of his face. A female is not afraid of his words. A female is not afraid of his teaching. The female is not afraid of his platform. You see, a female that works for the Most High Ahaya, they go head on. They don't see who you are and how long you've been in this and how long you've been teaching this and how well you can precept, how well you can line, how well you can little here and little there, how well you can know all the books, the lost books and the found books, how well you can say this and say that and say this. That's why he says, be not afraid of their faces. You see, because he knows those that he are sending out can't look at the face of someone, and that represents someone who's been in the eyes and on the media and on television and been known. Don't be afraid of who they are. Don't be afraid of their faces, because they have shown the world who they are and how big they are and how lifted they are. Don't be afraid of that. Just come in, speak bold, speak spirit and truth, and keep it going, because this truly is a race. So I'm going to start with this lesson, and I'm trying to see really what I think I'm going to title, they are still lost without a cause. Still lost without a cause. still lost without a cause. And I'm going to try to cover the most powerful topic, one of the most powerful topics that can be found in spirit and truth, that can be found in the Bible. And the topic is the Father, his power, his right hand. It makes a lot of sense why he said, it makes a lot of sense denying the power therein. The reason why it's therein is because it's in him. It is who he is. Okay? It is his own right hand that's being denied. Because people cannot accept spirit and truth of the matter. And that is what is missing today and has been missing in time past. But the knowledge that he spoke of that shall be increased was the knowledge of spirit and truth. Okay? So I want to start in the chapter of 1 of Hebrews. We're going to go to Hebrews. In Hebrews chapter 1, I'm hoping you have your pencil and your piece of paper so you can follow me therein. In the book of Hebrews chapter 1, chapter 1, verse 10. Let us go there. And thy Lord in the beginning has laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hand. Now you notice you see the word hands. You see hands. You see that word hands. I don't know what kind of book you have before you, but a lot of people tends to go get books that's comfortable for their flesh. A lot of people go get the New King James, the New Version, the New World Bible, the New Edition. They want to really feel this thing in a way that makes their flesh comfortable in understanding. But I want to say to you that the Father in heaven said that this thing does not come by what you see. Okay? This thing does not come by what you read. This thing come by what you hear. And the hearing is being able to hear his spirit teaches your spirit and truth. So a lot of times we want to be comfortable with the books we have, thinking it's going to bring revelation. And it's not. You're not going to get spirit and truth through books you're trying to be comfortable with in your flesh. Because that's the whole idea of tampering and smearing the books, is to deceive many that it's meaning this and it's meaning that, and then the people get lost without a cause for the truth of the whole matter. And this is why many pastors, many apostles, many prophets, many teachers, many Maureen, seers, watchmen, many people who are called themselves ministers are lost without a cause, because they really think that this thing comes by what they say and what they can understand and what they have in their wisdom and their knowledge. They don't understand that there is a wisdom that's spiritual. There is a knowledge that's spiritual. And the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the Holy Spirit, is the fullness of all understanding. So it is spirit. It's not so much what you read, what you precept, what you line, how you can connect precept upon precept, line upon line, verse upon verse. You have to understand this thing come bigger. Okay. Now in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 10, and thy Lord in the beginning has laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hand. Now you see here in Hebrew, in the book of Hebrews, chapter 1 and verse 10, in my book, there's a star. There's a dark star right beside this verse. When I, Sister Deborah, see that star, it is because the Father wants me to understand, to focus on that verse, because there's power in it. A lot of people don't understand the prince of how, or little things that Ahia has left there for those that are elect. Remember, he said, if it was so, it will fool the very elect. Well, many of you all don't understand that the star is there for the one that is elect. Elect for what? They were elect from the heavens before the foundation of the world to come down here, okay? To not be taken by men and women, by people who have called themselves to minister, to teach, and to position they have called themselves, and have not sat down and waited for the, or tarried for the Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, to abide in them, to teach them from that level on. They decided that, hey, I got this. This is me. I studied it. I read it. I understand it. And they understand it on the outer man. But when it come down to really knowing spirit and truth, they are lost without a cause. And they teach us, and they're like GINO, Jennings. He come after people in the flesh because that's what he's called to do. He is flesh. He comes after them in the flesh. But until he understands spirit and truth, then he'll realize the way he's going about things is vain and vast, because you're not giving people spirit and truth of the matter. Okay, you're giving them what you learned in the flesh, and that's what Satan come to do. You know, and the Father, when when individuals have gone that far, the Father will also make sure those people get a strong delusion. And that's why I'm like, Father, wait a minute. These people have been teaching these people for years, and they still walking in the flesh. They have no spirit and truth. But so that leads me to understand that right hand that created everything in the heavens and brought it to the earth. He created it from the heavens and said, let, and the power brought it forth. He himself have created everything from the beginning to the end, even us. We would orchestrate it from the heaven, not from the earth. So therefore, we couldn't get to the earth and learn what we know now. No. What you learned and what you have invested in you and what you know, heaven has assigned you to it before you got here, okay? So in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 10, it says, and thy Lord in the beginning has laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hand. We know that his right hand is his power. Here they put hands. That's off the chain for me. That shows me that the star is there for you to see this, Deborah. So see that hands has an S, and it's supposed to be hand. You know my power rests in my right hand, okay? And my stretched out arm, okay? That's connected to that right hand. That means the stretched out arm lets you know he can reach as far as all the way to the inner of the earth and all the way above the heavens and beyond. Because that's what the stretched out arm is for. It's for the power that's in the right hand. It's in the arm too, to rest, to go as far as it can go low and as far as it can go high, which is no end with that right hand. Okay? So I want you to hold on and make sure that you write Hebrews chapter 1. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 10. Now I want you to go with me. Now this here is showing you what took place in the beginning. Because here it's saying, laid the foundation of the earth and the heavens and all the works of thy hand. You threw down, Father. You threw down in the beginning. Okay? So what is that saying? We got to go back to Genesis and Genesis 1. But before we go to Genesis 1, let's stop over to Psalms. Psalms 102. Let us stop by Psalms 102. In the book of Psalms, chapter 102, let's go to verse 25. Write that down. Write it down. Genesis is where we're going to go back to. But we're going to cover some verses before we go back to the beginning, because the beginning is going to tell us what we really need to. And I like that because it shows you that the beginning Deborah had locked it in, and then as it went on, uh, others were able to speak on that same sign that took place in Genesis 1 and 2. So we're going to Psalms 102, verse 25. Let's go there. Verse 25, it says, "Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands." And the heavens are the work of thy hand. Look at verse 25. Notice work don't have an S. Now let's go back, hold your book and go back to Hebrew chapter 1. Hebrews chapter 1, you see verse 10. That's the verse we just left off. And I want you to really stick with me. I'm going to try to move fast. You notice here it says, "And the heavens," with an S, "are the works," with an S, "of thy hands," with an S. You notice works has an S. Now let's go back to Psalms. Psalms 102 and verse 25. "Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens," has an S, "are the work," where's the S to works, "of thy hands." This is what I was saying to you all. Right here in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 10, they put "thy hands" with an S, and that shouldn't go there. That his power rests in his right hand. Okay. And here in Psalms 102 and verse 25, it has works. It should have been works with an S, but it has "and thy hands." It should always be one S. You notice works is missing an S, but you still see "thy hands." You see, because they don't know what Sister Deborah knows, that he has one hand that carries all power. Let's say this. Would one say that he has two hands? I would say he do. In the spiritual body, I believe I could see two hands. But the hand that's on the right hand is the one that carries the power on the heavens, in the heavens and on the earth. Okay? He's that hand, that beloved that was given to Yeshua to come down to complete the mission. Now, I want you to see the difference in how they went in, and they can change a word, they can change a letter, they can change whatever they desire. That's why you need the Spirit of the Most High God in you, teaching you from the spiritual level more so than the fleshly level. You get what I'm saying? So if we want to deny this thing ain't about spirit and truth, you go right ahead, baby. My Father have assured me this weekend, look, Deborah, speak my word. And the words that I speak is not of a book. It is the word that proceeds out of whom he is. He is the word. This book is not the word. Okay? So he wants you to understand this book he inspired. He gave things to be put in here so that he can teach us from something we can see after we believe in him to be the revealer of what cannot be seen from this book. Why? Because this book is natural. Heaven and earth shall pass away. That's these books. But the word is in him. So we don't understand when Sister Deborah is saying spirit and truth, that is who he is, the word. See, a lot of things fall under the spirit and truth, under the light. And a lot of us don't want that part because it's too much to embrace. But it's plainly seen as it is spoken with power. Okay, now going back to Psalms 102 in verse 25, I like it because it says, and the old has, back in the old, has thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works. It's supposed to be S of thy hand. See how that S on hand should have been the S to works? This is where Sister Deborah called the book smeared. I don't call the book a lie or it's no truth. I said smeared because who's the cleanupper? Ah, hallelujah. Who is the cleanupper? The Father himself. You see? He's the only one can make the straight crooked and the crooked straight. And he comes to clean stuff up in us. So we'll know in our spirit man, spirit and truth of the whole matter. Okay? So let's go now to Daniel. No, we're gonna have to go to Daniel. No, that's gonna be after we come from Hebrew. Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. Now we're finna step into the storm. You're gonna step into the storm here because, like I said to you in time past, the Father have told me and have spoken to my spirit that if they misses Deborah, Genesis 1 and 2, they have missed everything in between the beginning and the end. Because the beginning set the foundation, the groundwork, okay? It set everything to be settled, okay? And it's firm. But if you miss the foundation and you thinking you have truth because you have went to school, you have taught yourself, you have believed, and you have done the things that you have done to get you to believe that you know it all and you got it wrapped up and you've been teaching for thousands of years and so on and so on. That's all you have. You have everything that's on the outer man, but you have no spirit and truth that rests therein. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. And I hope you're enjoying this Sabbath day, and I hope that this be the food for your spirit. You don't need the food for your flesh. You already overweight. You overweight in the flesh. You need spirit food, okay? And this here is what you call really good spiritual food. Now in Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 is where I want to go. And as in Hebrew chapter 1, verse 10, and in Psalms chapter 102, verse 25, they spoke of in the beginning, okay, what his hand had done. It spoke of his hand. Why? Because his hand is what was present the whole time in the beginning. This is what the Father was saying. If they missed the beginning, Deborah, they missed the end and all that is between. Because in Genesis 1 and 2, it sets the foundation, the ground level, the root and everything is founded and it in the foundation. Let's say if a person built a tree and then he put cement around it to keep the tree where it's at. And no matter what happened, the tree has been rooted so far in the ground. And then the foundation poured around it is to keep it standing straight up in perfect alignment with the root and the ground in which its whole foundation was planted. So when they missed that in Genesis 1 and 2, they missed the end because they never got the beginning. And he said they missed also everything in between. And what it was, spirit and truth. They missed it. Okay. Now, I want to say in Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, but I got to go back to Hebrew chapter 1 and verse 10. The key word, I want y'all to understand, the key word is hand. Okay? In Hebrew chapter 1, verse 10, the key word was hand. But the other side words were the foundation of the world and how he created everything. Then you go back to Psalms 102 and verse 25. The key word is the hand. It telling you in the old, when in the beginning, when he created everything and his works, heaven and earth, everything he created, it lets you know how he did it with his hand. That is the one that was present, was his hand. That same hand was given to what the world called Jesus Christ. I say Yeshua. It was given to Yeshua because he needed it. Why? Yeshua was coming down like unto every prophet that came down in the body of the flesh. But what was he before he came down? And we're going to cover that too. But let's go to Genesis, because I heard Hebrew chapter 1, verse 10, and I heard Psalms 102, verse 25, talk about this hand being present and created all things. Now watch this. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, and I'm going to read it as it is in the book, because I want those that are so lost to understand, because a lot of times they want to not get it, but they're not going to get it. So I go the route. Chapter 1, verse 3. And Yah said, let there be light. And there was light. The word let is the power. It's letting you know the word was spoken. Okay? Who is the word? Ahaya. Yah. He is the word. Let me bring that back. I'm going to have to change that to God. Okay? Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. God said, let there be light. And there was light. What was taking place in Genesis? The word. The word was being what? Spoken. And it said, let to something. It's just like you say, let me pick up this bottle here of lotion. And what do? You pick it up. You're just not saying let. You're saying it because God is saying it out of power. Let this be. Let this come forth. You see? Now, when you go to verse 6, we still in Genesis. In verse 6, you notice it says, let there be again. You go to verse 9 of Genesis chapter 1, and you see let the. You go to verse 11, and you see let. You go to verse 14, we still in Genesis 1, and you see let there be in verse 14. You go to verse 15, and it says, and let them. Okay? You go to verse 20, and it says, and let the. You go to verse 24, and it said, let the. Now, the main thing you have to understand, all those lets was speaking to the right hand. He is the word. He spoke it, and his power brought it forth through what? His right hand. That's the power. When you speak of God, power, it is his right hand and his stretched out arm. Okay? But it's he wants you to understand that's his power. When he spoke of his beloved, his only, he only had one right hand. It's his only begotten that he has, the only one that he has. Okay, he sent it down with Jesus, as the world knows. Okay, now when you get to verse 26, there the power go again. The word being spoken, he is the word is God, the word was in the beginning. He's letting you know, I am the word. It's what I speak out of my mouth. That's why it's important for us to have his Holy Spirit in us, so he can speak out of his mouth into our spirit. And that is, our spirit is the ear. He that has the ear to hear, meaning the ability to hear what the spirit that's in our spirit is saying. That's the ear that he's speaking of. His spiritual, it's you getting the spiritual ear through the Holy Spirit in you to hear the teaching of the Holy Spirit in you. That's why he said, I abide in thee, you in me, and we are one. When I teach and I speak, I'm teaching your spirit. You see, he that has that, let him hear. That's why he called it one ear, because that's all it takes. And it's not a natural ear. It is a spiritual ear. Okay? Now, as we continue in Genesis, you notice we hit a bump, but we really didn't hit a bump. The bump is for those who have taught this word on a bumpy road and still today confused and confound and don't know which way to go and what direction. But let me continue, is what they're saying in their spirit and in their heart. I'm going to continue what I've done throughout all these years. The people shows me that they enjoy what I'm teaching and how I'm teaching and the way I'm teaching. And even though something in me have told me that it wasn't spirit and truth, it doesn't matter. I'm winning the people over. And that's what's on this platform. It doesn't matter if you know spirit and truth. And spirit and truth is 100 connected to righteous. It's connected to trust and faith. It's connected to the narrow gate. It's connected to the tree of life. It's connected to that thirst. All of that is connected to the light. You see all the things that spirit and truth is connected to? And here you are connected to man's wisdom and his knowledge in the flesh. And they are so content because they've been doing it for so long, and they see numbers, people as numbers to identify who they are. They don't understand you are not who the Father has called, with a holy calling, to be the sons of God. You are one that has been called, but not chosen. Okay? So when you get into Genesis, you see all this. Let there be, 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 let them, let them. You see all that happening. Let there, not them. You see all that's happening in Genesis. This is the part he said, if they miss, they have missed the beginning to the end and anything in between. What happens when one miss the beginning and the end and all that's between? Do anyone out there know? No, you don't. Because spirit and truth is not something that rests within. He that is elect know exactly what Sister Deborah is talking about. And the reason why he that misses the beginning has missed the end and anything in between is because the beginning is the part that sets you solid. Okay? It sets you solid in the ground to where nothing will cause you to go left, right, and swagger. You solid, you cemented. Your roots are always in the dirt. You're cemented at the top. You're standing tall and straight and firm. When you see that same thing in a lot of our men today. They're firm in what they're teaching. They will not allow the Father in. They will not suffer the Father to give them no more than what they are willing to continue to teach to people. So when they see Genesis and you see all these let, come on, wake up. Let is saying something. Let is saying something to something. Let is telling the power to bring it forth. The power of speaking his word and his power bringing it forth. Let's go to Genesis chapter 26, and it reads, in Genesis chapter 26, it says, and God said, let us make man. Now, that us and that let is the same one in Hebrew chapter 1, verse 10. Okay? It's also the same one in Psalms 102, verse 25. Now, who is it? The hand. Let is what he spoke, the word that he spoke. And he's telling it his power to bring it forth. Okay? Let this be exactly what I spoke it to be. And the power, bring it. Next, power, bring it. Next, power, bring it. Okay? So that shows you who the word let is the authority of a highest word telling his power to bring it forth. Your body cannot control itself without your brain controlling it. Your brain even controls the beats of your heart and everything in your organs. Okay? You can be brain dead and it wouldn't take very much longer when everything else started to die out. Okay? So, where we at here in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, let us go. This is why I said to you all, here is if you can't get this. You can't get it because Sister Deborah's speaking it. It's out of the question. That's what a lot of people think. They think, okay, she's speaking it. I get it. I see it. I got it. No. Only one can reveal this to you still yet and all is my Father in heaven. Through his spirit do he bring these things to your spirit, and you all abide together. And he bring you spirit and truth. Okay? Outside of that, Sister Deborah is just a seed planter. I plant the seed there and let the spirit of the Most High Yah do the increase. It's not for Sister Deborah to do the increase. It's just to plant the seed, okay? So when you go into Genesis chapter 1, now we rest after all those lets. We see let is coming up one more time. Let is coming up for the final time. Why? Because he's finna do the final stage of his creation. And what does he say? And God said, let. The word was spoken. Let what? Us. Now he's including us because he feel that the way that he's going to create he and her, them, is the way that he want us to do it in the way that he did it. You see, us only represents him himself, but he calling his power us, because when he speaks the word, us bring things forth. Okay, so us going to bring, we're going to let us create. Notice what he said. Let's go. Let us make. You see that make? Let us make man. Ooh-wee. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 10 is that hand he's speaking of. That's where the power is at. Let us make it. Make is that power. Everything he created in Genesis, he said, let there be, let there be, let there be, let the, everything he spoke, that power brought it forth. How did that power do that? That's his own right hand. It totally submitted and connected to the Father. Okay, so here he says, let us make man in our image. Our image are a spirit. I am a higher. God is saying I'm a spirit. And everything on me, my hand, my arm, my neck, everything a part of me is a spirit. Now listen, let us make man in our image. Is his hand a spirit? Yes, it is. So he just saying, let us make one of us. And the reason why he's letting you know us is because he want you to understand he made man in his image to have what? Hands. You see? In his image, us, mean like us, having hands, arms, a head, a body. You see? Legs. The image is, all of those image I just called was all in a spiritual form, not a flesh. Okay? That was a spiritual form. In our image, we are spirit. My right hand is spirit. That's why I was saying to you all, it's so important to really get to know him in that day, which we are in, ASAP, because when you need him and you understand who he is, then that same power that rests in his right hand is what you would trust. You know how people say you first have to believe? It's a point of believing. You still have to go right back to this. You got to believe that when you ask, you know who you ask. You know it's his right hand power. See, people think I can get healed by just believing. What is it you believe? Belief is something that the Father gives us and embed in us. That's why it was so important when he said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven and all shall be added. The kingdom is spiritual, you guys. Seek ye the kingdom and all shall be added. Because the kingdom is spirit, babies. Do you get it? I know you don't, but I'm going to teach this thing. It is spirit. Once you can detach yourself to spirit and truth, then therefore that same hand that he said let brought forth things is the same one that when you say heal, that individual is healed. Because you believing in that same right hand that was in the beginning that created all things. But if you don't know who the right hand is, then you're not going to be able to say Yeshua HaMashiach. Because you really don't know who you call it. When the Father wanted to create everything, he called it out. Let, bam, he knew it, that right hand. Everything he created. It said it in Hebrew chapter 1, verse 10. It said it in Psalms 102, verse 25. That hand. Everything was created by that hand. That's who us is. It is the hand. It is a spirit connected. It is the Father image that's connected to him. It is his power. Okay? So if you ever wonder, well, why haven't I been delivered? Why haven't I been healed? Why haven't I been set free? Why haven't this sickness, this illness, or this alcohol, this drugs, or this lust, this porno, and all this stuff has not been delivered? It's because you never believed. Because you're believing in the image in which man has created all these thousands of years for us. We never wanted to step into spirit and truth. We wanted to step into only that which we see and believe, that which we hear in the natural ear and believe. But we reject that which is spirit and truth, because it is the truth of the matter of all things. And the truth of the matter here in Genesis 1 and 26 is the Father said, Now, when you get to Genesis chapter 3, now when you get to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, verse 6, verse 9, verse 11, verse 14, verse 15, verse 20, verse 24, then we down on verse 23, and you see, he said, God said, let us, that's his power, make. See, that's what these verses are saying to the people about his right hand and his stretched out arm. That's another spirit and truth 99.1 million of our men refuse to teach, because it'll take all the authority back away from them, and the power that they have claimed, which they don't have, it'll strip them from it, and they're not ready to handle that. They love the hype. They love the subscribers and the likes. They love the praise. They love the honor. They love the glory. But none of it has any spirit and truth resting in it. And that's where I see GINO, Jennings. That's why he can easily come after people, because he can come after them with that which he has studied in his flesh wisdom, in his flesh knowledge, and in his flesh understanding. He still yet refused spirit and truth. Okay, so the spirit and truth of this matter is, let us make man in our image. Our image is a spirit. He's telling his power. He know his power is spirit, because he is spirit. After our likeness, and let, see there go that let again. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, 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 and over all creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. What that statement was saying, it was sealed, women, that dominion that Yah had given us on this earth was to be them and not him. How did it become him? Is when sin hit. But you got to go back to the beginning, and that's what you have to meditate on. Wait a minute. My Father did not create it to be this way. This is how sin has brought it to this level. And when sin brought it to this level, it brought women as cattle, as sex tools. And that's where you at today. And you wonder why. It's because you never gripped nor accept the beginning. Okay? Where the what? The power resting. So, this is why GINO, Jennings, and many of our men would say women are to keep quiet, women are to not do this, women are not to do this, women have to shut up, they're not to preach, they're not to teach, because they are afraid that if you stepped on their pulpit, you will shut them down. Shut them down. Because the order is out of order. It's out of order. The whole course of the earth is out of order. And this is one of the main ones, what took place in the beginning. When he says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, that was his power he spoke of. Yah's power is what set the pace, Yah. Yah's power set the pace for us all. What do? We reject it, even to today. We turned. This is what he said. They perish due to lack of knowledge, because they reject. And that is 100. You reject what Sister Deborah is teaching right here, because there's no spirit and truth in you. You see? And that's why you reject. And a lot of people don't understand. This spirit and truth has you believing in that which you cannot see, but you yet believe. It is spirit as well. Faith is a spirit. It's a gift that a higher place in you. Endurance, long suffering, all these are things that he gives you to run this race. Because the race is really a awesome race if you really think of it in the spiritual realm. You have to understand you've been called down here for a mission, and you got to stay on the lane, in your lane, and continue to run. Now, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, you notice he say, and let uh, 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 them have dominion over. You notice he said dominion over. Let them have dominion over. And see what they did is when sin hit, they hit the board and start moving things and speaking things and smearing things out of the order. But the thing that I like about Genesis 1 and 2, there were some things smeared, but the Father has given his, the ones that he say, you've heard it say, if it was so, it will fool the very elect. And what he mean is the elect are the only ones that's not fooled. Okay, that's why Sister Deborah can stand boldly on this here devil platform and speak this thing in its purest form. You see, because I am one of the elect. I'm not elect for you in the way you want me to be, in the way you say I am, in the way you try to trap me to not be who he called me to be. It's not going to work. I am what he called me to. And see, by me seeing this, when I see let them, see, that's another one of them let. That's another one of the let that he created. That means he created it to be them, not him. Now, when sin hit, man decided to make everything them and not, no, he decided to make everything him and did not accept the creation at first, saying them. So they instant came out of the Father's order with no doubt. So if you ever search truth, you first have to go to Genesis 1 and 2 before the sin hit, okay? And you'll find things that you never knew before, you see? And it sets the pace for you to run the race on through and see. Every time you read, you'll see these things. You say, wait a minute, this going back to the beginning. It'll take you back. That's why when they came to Yeshua saying that Moses told them to give them they can give a written decree to get a divorce from their wives. But the first thing he said, Moses gave you that because of your heart. That means you wicked. So he said whatever your wicked heart wanted to hear. But what did Yeshua say? From the beginning. Hallelujah. From the beginning. From the beginning, that was not so. From the beginning, he also created him and her to become one in his mission. Okay? In his mission. But man took it and placed it under their mission. So they came out of a man leaving his mother and his father and cleaving to his wife, and they becoming one. They came out of that, and they taught it in the order in which they desire. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, after 1 and 2, they decide, after Genesis 1 and 2, they decided, since sin hit, let's use verse 3, chapter 3, since sin hit in chapter 3, hey, we don't need to follow nothing that was before sin. Do y'all get it? And that's why you're in this position you're in right now and wondering, why is it I can't lay hands on someone and they are healed? Why can't I put my hands on someone's eyes and they can see? Why is it I can't wake the dead up? The same power in which Jesus, as the word know, Yeshua have said, and you shall do greater. What happened to that greater is because there's nothing in you. See, Jesus had the word know, Yeshua knew what it was, the power. Okay, he knew what it was gonna, what would give you that ability. He knew. But you know what? He knew it and he spoke it. The whole mission was that you gained that what I did and greater. But the Father said, wait a minute, hold up. He followed us all the way through into today. And we have not been found worthy to put out the gifts in which he has blessed our hands to have that power. See, that power cannot come out if there's no belief, okay? If there's no faith. And these are gifts from a higher. So you can't just come up and go to anywhere you want and think because you under a pastor, you under a teacher, you under an apostle, you under a preacher, you under all these people, and you're going to gain the gifts to be able to do all these things. You're going to be standing just like that pastor is, talking to people for years and years and years, and then nobody never seeing the power. See, GINO Jennings been standing on that pulpit for many years. Someone needs to test his power. Come on, bring some power here. Let's bring some blind in here. Let's bring some death in here. Let's see if he can lay hands and they be delivered. If he can't do that, then he's lacking something great, and that is the power. He has the power in his flesh. See, a lot of people don't understand that what you have in the flesh, you have in the spirit. But see, what they do is they let the flesh override the spirit. So therefore, they become obese in the flesh and they please. They ain't shamed. And they become anorexic in the spirit and they don't pay it no mind. So in Genesis, that wasn't a part of my lesson, but I wanted to show you in Genesis, even when he was bringing man, speaking how he wants to bring man forth in his image, in his likeness. And then he also showed them how he created them to have control over everything. This is what he means when he said the whole earth is off course, because you out of the will that was set in Genesis 1 and 2. Those things were set under spirit and truth. And they came away from it because their form, when sin hit, they just decided to take Genesis 3 and run with it. Woman was created for man and not man for woman. We know that when you walk in spirit and truth, we know that is not true. Everything a higher created before the foundation of the world has been spoken, I have created for me. All that has been created for my purpose and my will. The will of a woman and a man was to come to connect, to bring forth the will of the Father. That's what they are, to meet the will of the Father. And this is where you see raping, lusting, men messing with babies, men messing with animals, men messing with men. It's because of the sin that has forsaken the beginning. And it had ran on. And so when he said the whole earth is off course, it's because they got off the course. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 was the solid foundation. But they took that and ran. Soon as sin hit, they ran. It's just like Adam and Eve. They went straight around everything that was pleasant to them and that was suitable. And they went straight to what? They went straight to what? Good and evil. The knowledge of good and evil, to be entertained. Because that's what their destiny in the heavens. Okay? That's why I'm so glad that he did set a solid foundation in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And that same foundation are men today, 100 times 100 trillion, is lost without a cause because they fail to understand Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And in Genesis 2, it will show them that they have got off the righteous path a long time ago. Okay? And it shows you here. They have dominion because I have given them that. I have given them my image. Pastor Dow and many others said he didn't give woman his image. You see, but they have converted. Those who got large platforms and lead the multitude have converted everything that a higher stand for. And they are moving in, they have moved so far deep in the ocean to the people cannot see dry land, to go back to the dry land and serve the Most High, a higher. Okay, now, what I would like to do, so I want to show you that us was about their image, okay? Their image, which is a spirit in man and woman, and them being what a higher brought forth and not him, okay? And if, okay, so we're going to go on to Matthew's. Let's go to Matthew's 16. and I'm not going to be with you long. So I hope that this is good food to the spirit. And I'm going to open up the comment line, okay? So that if you have any questions, and anybody, if you put in any questions, I have no problem with it. I'm going to answer. But I'm also going to not. It's not going to be pretty the way I'm going to answer. I'm going to shoot into it in spirit and truth, and all that other crap is kicked to the side. I'm not under the tradition of man, nor the precept of man's understanding. I'm under the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, Matthew 16 and verse 13, and we're going to go down to 20. Now, hear this, y'all. Matthew 16, okay? Matthew 16 and verse 13. When Yeshua came unto the coast of Caesarea, and Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, now this is Yeshua, who do men, males, say that I, the Son of Man, am? I like what Yeshua did here. I think he did such a wonderful, excellent, perfect job. I don't think, I know he did. I like that, why they got that, how they got that. And I like how the Father has left that solid for somebody like me, an elect, to not be taken by what is being taught versus what the Spirit has taught me in spirit and truth. As I see in Matthew chapter 16, verse 13, when Yeshua came to the coast of Caesarea and Philippi, he asked his disciples, said, now he asked his disciples, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? You see how he separated the Son of Man? I want you to see that. Because Yeshua knows that he is an angel that was sent down here to be born of a woman as the Son of Man. He's asking them, who do they say that I am? And I like the way he separate I am. And before he said I am, he lets you know who he's talking to. He's talking about, who do they say the Son of Man? I love that. I love how he did that. He say, whom do man say that the Son of Man am? See, so he came in between I am. Hallelujah. And he brought himself a little lower. And he said, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? So he wants you to know he's only focusing on who he is. He is born of flesh from a woman. He's born of the flesh through a woman, okay? And he is the Son of Man. Sister Deborah have taught over and over that people must understand that there is a Son of Man and there is a Son of God. I'm going to say it like that, which the word called God, but I say God, which is the Son of Yah. Those are two together, working one mission, not being torn apart from each other for their own sake, but work together to complete the will and the purpose of the Father. Okay, that's what Yeshua was, the Son of Man, was trying to convince, which the world called Jesus, many of us, but we didn't want to hear him. Okay, but listen to Matthew chapter 16, verse 13, where it says, whom do males say that I am? Not that I am, that I, the Son of Man, am. He separated him from the I am. Woo, boy. He separate the Son of Man, which he is, from the I am. So, as he's saying this to the disciples, and they said, some said that thou art John the Baptist, some said Elias, others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. So they're saying that the Son of Man are all those that came as prophets, Jeremiah, Elijah, Elias, us, John the Baptist, or any of the prophets. This is what they said the Son of Man is. Come. That's who they say. They connected him to other prophets and those that came in time past. So they said that he's just what the world call when they died and they come back, coordinate. What is it, that word? Where they die and they come back. When they're saying that that's who the Son of Man is. Now listen to what's taking place. He said to them, now he's saying again, I love Yeshua. Listen to what he said. But now he asked him the question, whom say ye that I am? See that I am? You see how Yeshua separated himself as the Son of Man. And later in the next spoken words, after they was identifying him as one of the prophets, John the Baptist, Jeremiah, Mias, or whatever, but here he drops down and he said unto them, that means he spoke again, but, that means hold up, y'all, hold up. Who say ye that I am? See, what Yeshua was doing is giving his disciples the truth of the matter, which is spirit and truth. The spirit and truth is, I came as the Son of Man, okay, born of a woman. That I know. But do you know, but whom say ye that I am? The I am is the part of Christ. That's why he said the Son of Man. See, there's a Son of Man and there's a Son of God, which is the Son of Yah. They work together. Here, Yeshua was separating it to see if the disciples really knew who was who and what was what. Listen. So, he comes back on verse 15 and say unto them, but whom said ye that I am? Wait a minute, did you just ask that question? But you said, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? So he separated it. And right there is the power, y'all. There go the power, showing you the difference between the two. Okay? Now, this is what happened. In verse 16, Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ. See? The I am is Christ. Hallelujah! The right hand of the Father. You see? The power. You see? So, Yeshua made it so easy for Sister Deborah. And I like to just say, I just thank him. Oh, he made it so easy for me. He made it when he everything he done when he came, it was just like floating, so easy for me. Because it brought everything in line. It put a higher where he needs to be. and the purpose of Yeshua to come to bring the knowledge to the people about heavens is like unto, hallelujah, trying to get you to understand who rules, hallelujah, the Father in the kingdom. So here, when he said the Son of Man was an angel, you guys. You were an angel. We all was once angels. Okay? He came into a woman's, born of a woman. He became the Son of Man. He was missioned before the foundation of the world. He was not present in the time of old. His mission was ordained and assigned and appointed to come at a certain time. Okay, who was he coming with? That which always exists from the beginning to the end. That is the Father's right hand power, which is Christ. That's his power. So listen to how Peter lined that thing up to tell Sister Deborah. So Sister Deborah is locked in spirit and truth. And Peter said, and Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ. At the top one, it was just Yeshua. Who do they say the Son of Man? That's Yeshua. Okay? And Peter locked in and said, thou art the Christ. That's all Sister Deborah wanted you all to understand in Genesis. Christ was the power. He was us. He was the right hand that brought everything. When Ahia spoke it, his hand brought it forth. That is them. They are us. Okay? That's when he said, let us, let my power, let Christ, which the name Christ came for the mission. For the mission with Yeshua, get the word Christ come. For the mission with Yeshua. Okay? But Christ is the power. Okay? Now, thou art Christ. Listen to what he said. The Son of the living Yah, which is the living God. He is the Son of Yah, which is, let's say for the teaching of this lesson, the Son of God. See, people don't know Christ is the Son of God. Yeshua, which is Jesus, is the Son of Man. So when Peter were able to step in to spirit and truth, what happened? Yeshua said, hold up, time out. Hold up, time out. And Yeshua in verse 17, Yeshua, which the world called Jesus, answered and said unto him, blessed are thou, Simon Peter. He didn't say to his other disciples. He said Simon Peter. Because he's saying, Yeshua knows that for Simon Peter to know that, heavens had to open the door in him to give him that. And that's what Sister Deborah is saying to you all. That's who taught me. The same one that had given Peter what he had given Peter. This thing is spirit and truth, y'all. This ain't about you. People wants to make this whole understanding and this whole book and hire himself about them. You ain't nothing but nasty flesh. Get under the ground somewhere. It's about spirit and truth. That's what's going to stand before judgment, your spirit. You see? Now listen to this. Then Yeshua said, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto thee. What was Yeshua saying? What was Jesus saying when he said flesh and blood did not reveal that to thee? He was saying to you. He was saying to Peter, wait a minute. Now I know I'm the Son of Man. I'm born of a woman. I'm flesh and blood. And I did not reveal that to you. I did not reveal that to you, but I know who did. What Yeshua say? What did Jesus say? I know who did. And who did he say? But my Father. Now Yeshua is talking, the Son of Man. He's directing you to where the power is at. He's directing you to where the authority is at. He's directing you to the one who set the mission. but my Father which is in heaven. So he's letting you know that my Father is in heaven. Where's the Father at? He's on his throne. And where's Yeshua, the Son of Man? He's on the earth. Do you get what I'm saying? So when we think that Yeshua, Jesus, is the same as the Father, y'all lost without a cause. And we're going to get to that. Okay? Now it says in verse 18, and I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. And the gate of, what he say? I will build my church. I'm going to lay this foundation right now, Deborah. Because I know the Father gave him something that he shouldn't have had. But the Father gave it to him. I know I didn't. I'm flesh and blood. I'm the Son of Man. I'm in the flesh, and I know I didn't. So the Father, where? In heaven. That's why I embrace Yeshua, which the world called Jesus, very much. Because he did such an awesome job. An awesome job. And he said, and Peter, upon this rock I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And verse 19, and I will give unto thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And so when Sister Deborah says she has the keys, what she's saying is she has the keys that unlock spirit and truth, that allow me to walk in. If you had the keys to one's house, you can get in. So what I have is a way in. And it is spirit and it is truth. I can't go in it through my flesh. I can't teach you flesh and blood because I can't enter in that way. I have to come to you the route of spirit because that's the only way I can enter in. And listen to what he says. He says in verse 19, we in Matthew 16 and 19, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heavens, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on the earth shall be bound in the heavens, and whatsoever thou shall loose on the earth shall be loosed from heaven. Now, even in this here topic, I want you to understand, it's saying that the keys gives Peter the loosing from heaven, the things that heaven releases, the things that heaven hold dear to, and the things that heaven release. Peter can gain on the earth. Meaning, listen to this. Let's go to the first one. Verse 19. I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdoms, the kingdom of heavens. And whatsoever you shall bind on earth, when he bind on earth, shall be bound. So whatever is bind on earth, you shall bind on earth, shall be bound in heaven. Heaven has the first and the last say so over it all. Okay? And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in the heaven. Anything you loose, anything you, anything that you bind, heavens has to loose it, okay? And heavens has to bound it. So loose and bound heavens is in the hands of the Most High, higher. So whatever Peter, whatever his walk is and what he do, it's controlled already from the heavens. You see? So the way he walk, he don't have to look here and say, I wonder if I'm going the right way here. I'm going, just go, Peter. Just go. Just go. You got the keys. Go. That's what I say about myself. I don't have to buckle up to people. For what? When you're holding the keys, why are you buckling up to everybody? Why are you feeling you have to believe and understand it and teach it and preach it and know it the way the flesh of man and woman is teaching it? No. You have the keys. You don't have no reason to go up under these people and believe or take their word or what they saying because you already have the keys. You see? So it's no need for you to be up under somebody in that shape, form, or fashion. Now, if I'm called to be a prophetess and you have leadership and you have the five-fold ministry and everybody's in their rightful position in which Ahia has called them to his bosom, then that's a beautiful place. But I don't think on this earth, in this captivity, that the stiff-necked rebellion and disobedience of men will allow that to be. They have cut into everything Ahia has started from the beginning. So you can't look for them to do anything outside of unrighteous in this day in which we are in. Now, let's go on to Matthew's 22. Matthew's chapter 22. Matthew's chapter 22. In Matthew's chapter 22, verse 42. In Matthew's chapter 22, verse 42. In Matthew's chapter 22, verse 42. And we're going to go to 46. Verse 42 says, Matthew chapter 22, verse 42. And it reads, Say, what think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? You see what I'm saying, y'all? Do you see what I'm saying? Let's go up a little further. Let's go up a little further to verse 41. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Yeshua asked them, saying, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? Who's asking this question? Who's asking this? Yeshua, Jesus. He's asking the Pharisees, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? Because Yeshua, the Son of Man, knows that Christ is the Son of Yah, is the Son of God. It is God's right hand, his only begotten Son. It is his right hand. It is his power. Okay? So Jesus is asking the Pharisees, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They said unto him, The son of David. He said unto them, How then did David in the spirit? See right there? David was dealing in the spirit realm as well. So when you hear Sister talking about spirit and truth, she knows what she talking about. She knows who she talking about and what she talking about. Now listen to this. How then did David in the spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou on my right hand till I make thy enemy thy footstool. Now, this is what Yeshua is asking them. And they said that, how then do, they said David, the son of David. And Yeshua said, how, in verse 43, now then did David in the spirit, how then did David in the spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to that. I want you to pay attention to that. Notice in verse 44, you have two Lords. And that's another thing our men don't understand. There is two Lords. There are two Lords. There's the Lord, the Father, and there is the Lord, the Son, which is Yeshua. There is the Lord, the Father. And when you see the Father, Lord, it's always capital O, L-O-R-D. When you see the Son, it's lowercase L-O-R-D. But what happened is, when man got to this book and they have smeared it, there are several times where they put, when Yah is speaking, they put it under the lowercase L-O-R-D. Okay? Instead of the capital as they have it here. But Yeshua knew how to say it in the order that when he spoke it in the correct order. The Lord, that's the Father. That's the Father right here. That's Yah. That's what the word called God. The Lord said unto my Lord. That's said unto Yeshua, HaMashiach. sit thou on my right hand, on my right hand, till I make thy enemy thy footstool. How is he going to do that? If Yeshua is Yah, why is Yah telling the lowercase Yah, sit here on my right hand till I make the earth thy footstool? You see, this is going to be done by power. The power is his right hand. Okay? The power is his right hand. And that's what he was. And then listen to this. And he said it. And the Lord said unto the Lord, to my Lord, sit thou on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. Thy enemies. Thy enemies. Not his enemy, but thy enemies. What? Thy enemies, thy footstool. Verse 45. If David then called him Lord, how is he his son? So David calling him Lord. So how could Christ be David? How could David be his son? Wait a minute. And at 45, if David then called him Lord, how is he his son? How is Christ David's son? You see, it's messed up from the sport. The reason why, let me tell you, let me finish that. And 46 says, and no man was able to answer him a word. That's going back to what I've said to y'all. I can ask the questions, I can teach the lesson, but if a higher don't allow you to know spirit and truth, you ain't gonna know it. You can run around here and think you can know it in your flesh all you want, but this thing is spirit and truth. Now listen to what he said. And no man was able to answer him a word, neither does any man from that time forth ask him any more questions, because that's off the chain. Even for me to speak it right here, it's off the chain. He's asking them, what thinketh ye of the Christ? Whose son is he? See, they thinking that, okay, he's the son. They said unto him, the son of David. Then he said, Yeshua said, how then did David in the spirit call him Lord, saying, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou on my right hand till I make thy enemy thy footstool. If David then called him Lord, how is he his son? But that's the way the world is today. They don't see the spirit and truth of the matter of that picture. Christ is the right hand of the Father. That is his power. Right today, the angel that was assigned as the sacrifice sits on the right hand, awaiting for the power of the Father to send him forth on the four corners to collect that which is under the blood, okay, which is under Yeshua HaMashiach, okay? So that's another one I want you to see in 44. Notice Yeshua is separating the voice of David calling one Lord, capitalized, said unto another Lord, unto his Lord, Lord, a lowercase. You see? So therefore, what we're actually, and guess where he was at when he was saying that? In spirit. That's why I was telling you all, you can't get this here in your flesh. Because Sister Deborah's speaking it, you thinking you're going to get it? No. It's still spirit and truth. Spirit and truth is not given to just any and everybody. It has not been assigned to any and everybody. Sister Deborah is a seed planter. If you search the seed and see if she's planting a seed in you, that you may increase, that the Father may increase in you those things which is spirit and truth. If not, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. So I'd like you to say that, to put that in there. because he's sending a great message. Because I like how Yeshua is questioning him about Christ. Whose son is he? He's speaking it, but he's separating Christ, wanting to see if they knew what Peter said. In a sense, what Peter had said. The Son of Yah, the Son of God. You see? So he was seeing if they had any sense. He knew they didn't know. Yeshua knew they didn't know. But he was just putting it forth. And it wasn't so much as for them, it was for me and everybody that's elect. So they can fully have something to run on in. But I liked what 46 said. And no man was able to answer him a word. Neither does any man from that day forth ask him anything more questions, because that was too deep. That's what I try to tell y'all as a young girl. He said, wait a minute, you ask too many questions. Man can't answer. I'm strictly your teacher and always be. And I'm like, I laughed because it was like I was in the kitchen and I was cooking. I was a cook at that time, and I've been down to the dishwasher, and there I heard it was like a quickie, and I thought it was so funny. But so this thing is not what you think it is. Let's go to Hebrew chapter 1 and verse 13. Let's see if Hebrew chapter 1 and verse 13. It's Hebrew chapter 1 and verse 13. And it's a sad thing that we try to teach this thing out of the order. And everybody, many people are looking to make people try to make the elects a lie. That's a form of what they have always done back in the days. Instead, they killed the prophets, those that was coming to give the people the word. They killed them. But in this day, they tried to kill their character. They tried to kill and belittle who they are in the eyes of the people. So the people won't get spirit and truth, and they would get their lives. And it has been successfully working. But don't think my father didn't know it. Oh, yeah, he owned it. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 13. But which of the angels said he at any time? Now listen to this. Which of the angels, with an S, said, now we in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 13. But to which of the angels, with an S, said he at any time, sit on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. Verse 14. Are they not all ministering spirits, sent forth to minister for them who shall be inherit of salvation? Yes, we all are. That's what we're here to minister, to keep encouraging, to show those that are out here the hope and the promise of the Most High are higher, and we minister to them because it says here in verse 14, are they not all minister spirits? See, we thinking we flesh. We rather rest in the study and the understanding flesh. We don't want spirit and truth. We want flesh, truth. But I like in verse 13, Hebrews chapter 1, verse 13, it says, but to which of the angels, now which angels did he say this? He said he at any time sit on the right hand until I make thy enemy thy footstool. Who was he saying that to? It's telling you. But which of the angels? That was Yeshua. He was an angel. And that's what they're saying here. In which of the angels, which one of them, said he at any time, sit on the right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. Okay, so that's another part that I wanted you all to understand. Now I'm going to end with that. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, Sorry, Father, y'all. We have to go to Daniel chapter 3. I'm sorry. Daniel chapter 3. Okay. And verse 23. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 23 through 24. Through 24. Okay. Daniel chapter 3, verses 23. Daniel chapter 3, verses 23. And let's read. And these three men, Shamrat, Meshach, and the Nego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. They fell down. They fell down. This is during the time Nebuchadnezzar placed the three Hebrew men into the fire furnace. Shamrat, I think I'm speaking at Shamrat, Meshach, and the Nego fell down, bound. Now just imagine someone putting you in a furnace, and you fell down because you're bound. You bound by ankles and by hand. And when they pushes you in and you try to step in, y'all fall. And it says, I felt sad when I read that, fell down into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. That made me feel sad, because I got sons. And I thought that was really sad for them to do them like that. And Nebuchadnezzar, verse 24, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished and rose up haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? Now, if you're putting somebody in the fire, why are you bounding them? You see what I'm saying? See, this is what you see in the world today. All this killing and all this overkill, and no one's saying a word. It's like everybody is content. What is happening? People are getting immune and bringing every wicked and evil into a form of normal. And that's why it's not affecting anyone. That's why you can get on this devil platform. You'll hear none of the pastors, the Mories, the watchmen, the seers, the apostles, the teachers, and none of them preaching it in its deepest form, in its purest form, in what is really taking place. Because it don't mean nothing to them. But they'll get on here talking about Republicans and Democrats. Oh yeah, they'll talk about stuff like that. They'll talk about what our black women and our black men are doing in the world, and the way they making money and the way they doing that. They want to talk about all that, but when it comes down to the spirit and truth of the matter, they don't want to get into none of that ring. And I understand, because these are still the stiff-necked rebellion and disobedient whoremongers in which the Most High had already called them out. So they can't be no more than what he said, because they are worse than that. But I'm just saying, nothing to me can out-top that, because when they're that, that's it. They're going to come in like that and they're going to go out like that. Okay? So, and what I mean go out is, that's the way they're going to continue in that walk. Okay? And here it is, Nebuchadnezzar put them in the fire furnace. And he said, now listen to what he said. And he spoke and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? And they answered and said unto the king, true, O king, we put three bound. And he answered, but see, like I said, bound, the way they bound them, you're putting them in the fire furnace. You turned it up. Why are you putting them in there and you bound them? We're binding them like it's gonna stop them from, they're gonna fight to get it loose or something. I mean, it just don't make any sense. You could have just put them in there. Now watch this. They was going freely anyway. And answered and said, and he answered and said, Lo, I see four men loosed, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like unto what? What is it saying, y'all? Give my Father the glory. Give him praise right now. Nebuchadnezzar saw something in the fire furnace, and he called it the Son of Yah, the Son of God, as it reads in this book. But I say the Son of Yah. Nebuchadnezzar said, wait a minute, hold up. We bound them. Okay? We put them in and we turned it up high as we can get it. Wait a minute. I see something in here. Then we put three when it looks like the Son of God, the Son of Yah. What you mean, the Son of Yah? Nobody's seen the Son of Yah. Now, this here was supposed to be in way before Yeshua came on the scene. You know why? Because the Son of Yah is his right hand power. His power was in the fire furnace. Nebuchadnezzar identified the power. Let's see how he identified it. In verse, what was it? 24, he identified. Verse 25, he identified. And they told the king, yes, did we cast three men bound in the midst of the fire? And answered and said unto the king, true, O king. Verse 25, he answered and said, Lo, I see a fourth man, power, walking in the midst of the fire, walking, and they had no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like unto the Son of Man. But as you can see, that he said, didn't we have them bound? And they walking loose. Wait a minute, hold up. We bound them. And they walking, ain't hurt, ain't nothing. Nebuchadnezzar was calling it all out. And then he turned around and told you who was in there with him. The Son of Yah. The same Son of Yah that came down with the Son of Man, which is Christ, to complete the mission. Now, Christ was detaching to the beloved, the only begotten, okay, of the Father. So he was category as Christ. But the Son of Yah is always his power was in the fire furnace. It had loosed them. It was walking around in there with them. It had the power that the fire could not harm them and hurt them. That's how great the power is. Let me take it a little further to end this part. If you really think for a moment, if Nebuchadnezzar sat knowing he had them to turn the heat up higher than ever, he bound those young men ankles and wrists, tossed them into the furnace fire, and they land falling. Now he looks in there and he, wait a minute, hold up. They should have been gone. They standing up. Wait a minute, something's in there. The Son of Yah. That's all you could say. Why, Nebuchadnezzar? Because the Son of Yah is a higher God's power is in the furnace fire. So if you have issues in your life, okay, the same way he came in with the Hebrew boys, he unshackled them first. First, he bound the fire, couldn't touch them. He unshackled them. They began to walk and talk. So when you sit and tell me, well, they say I'm sick and I got this and I got that, you mean to tell me the Son of Yah, which is Christ, can't come into your sickness and erase everything man said wrong with you? Because you're gone here and you agree with everything that the wicked and evil say unto you to make you believe. that the Most High, that you say you truly believe in, you praise, you glorify, you put up on the highest pedal, where is the power that you must believe in? That's what he said. They deny the power they're in. And they have. They deny the power they're in. And that's why the deliverance is not there. From cocaine, drugs, alcohol, lust, porno, raping, killing, murdering, sin, stealing, drugs, alcohol, homosexual. That's why these things are not being delivered. Because Christ, the power, is not stepping in to support any of this nonsense. Because there's no spirit and truth resting in you, that he shall walk therein. Because if he can walk in there with the Hebrew boys like that, hey, let me tell you, he walked in Big Daddy. First he put a halt on the fire. Then he took the shackles off. Hallelujah. Then he began to stand in there. They weren't fussing and fighting. He wasn't trying to get them out. He was letting them know, greater is he that is in thee and with thee than he that is in the world. Here we are in the fire furnace that was turned up to the max. Now the one who rules max stands with you. So if you think the fire furnace is not as great as any issue in your life, you sicker than sick. That shows you live sick and gone mind. You don't understand spirit and truth. So I, Sister Deborah, would say this. Let me see, was that it, Father? Y'all? I say this. I had to cover Nebuchadnezzar, and I think I am completed. Understand, Christ is the right hand power of the Father. He came down with Yeshua, the Son of Man. The Son of Yah came down with the Son of Man. They come like man leaving his wife, leaving his mother and his father to cleave to his wife, and they become one. This is what Yeshua came as the Son of Man, and the Son of Yah came as Christ. They connected as one to complete the what? To meet the will of the Father. Hallelujah. And they completed an excellent job. So when you saw Yeshua at Gethsemane saying, take away this bitter cup, that was the flesh, the Son of Man, saying within him to the Son of Yah, okay, not my will, but thy will. Meaning your power, Father, your will. Because he knew that the only one can take away that cup is Christ, the right hand power. He knew what he had detached to him. But he said, no, not my will, but thy will be done. And he knew who that Christ is. That's the Father's right hand. That's why when John the Baptist didn't want to baptize Yeshua, because he knew he was baptizing the power. He knew what was going on. But for that the word may be fulfilled, he went on and done likewise. And that's why heaven opened up and showed you the real baptism, which is by fire. That's what he was showing. And the same thing with John the Baptist in prison. He said, wait a minute, tell me that you are the power. I don't want to hear nothing. Let me know, because if you the power, it's time for me to decrease. And it's okay for me to go. If not, I got to break out this prison one way or another and continue the mission until the power has come. So that's what Peter was saying. I'm going to have to break out this prison. I'm going to have to show up and show out. Or you the one. And then I don't have to do that. Because when you come, my mission was to decrease when you come on the scene. So that's why the Son of Man went to telling him, no words. Just tell him. The lame is walking. The blind is seeing. That's the power. See the connection. John the Baptist knew that the Son of Man was on the scene. Okay? But he knew him, but didn't know him. That's what he was saying. Because he knew the Son of Yah, but he didn't know the Son of Man. You see? So he was saying in the prison, it's time for me to decrease, but hold up. My mission was to prepare the way. And before I can prepare the way, it has to come down with fire. It has to come down with the power. So go back and ask him, okay, you the Son of Man, but do you have the power? And when Yeshua told them, yeah, I got the power. They doing this. They doing this. Miracle signs and one. Oh, he go back to John the Baptist. John the Baptist said, well done. I'm finished my course. You see, he have done his successful mission. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these ones that was in the Bible, even as today, as I consider myself, we're not here to play patty cake, bake up man with you. We're here to be about the Father's will and the Father's will only. So is it going to make us perfect? No, not it's going to make us perfect in the things of the world, but it make us perfect in the spirit in which a higher has called us to, in spirit and in truth. So I, Sister Deborah, hope that each and every last one of you all got something out of that, because I believe Gino Jennings is missing a great deal of what is spirit and truth. Not only him, but the majority, I'm going to state it, 99.9 of our men don't have spirit and truth. And that's why they're going to and fro, giving the message which pleases their flesh. And the people, flesh, is obese from all the messages. So this is how it's gonna end this way. It's gonna go all the way to complete the curse. It's gonna be exactly the way that it is, and it's just nothing Sister Deborah can do. All she have to do is complete the race, and that's what I'm doing in the process. In the race, I'm throwing out the spiritual tokens while completing the race. So I, Sister Deborah, say to you, understand spirit and truth. Shalom and shalom.